Welcome, everybody, to WWDBTV's segment of Meet the Candidate. And I tell you, every time that you come here, you need to get out and vote. You need to know who you're voting for, and you need to know why you're voting for them. Too many people go into the ballot box, they get halfway down the ballot, they don't know who this judge is, they don't know who this person running for the school board or the city council. So we're here to try to change that. We want you to know who's running and what they stand for and why you should vote for them. So if you don't do anything else, vote and realize that the people who are on your city council, on your school board, your judges, your local sheriff are more important to you in your everyday life than the entire federal government put together. They shape your everyday experience, so you need to have a say in what's going on in your community. Now, having said all that crap, I'd like to introduce our candidate today, Ms. Socorro Keenan.
Correct.
Okay, see, I can learn this.
Yay.
And Socorro is running, may I call you Socorro?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is running for Secretary of State.
That's correct.
The first question I ask every candidate is, why?
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 I have a passion to defeat the crisis of evil we're all going through. And I have the compassion because I know how to fix it, and I'm going to do it. And that's the difference that I do not see that's going on in our community right now. And I'm trying to unite everybody and everything that in different languages so that we can get together. So you think a vote means victory, opportunity, and then together, everyone. If we use vote, that's really the only right that we have to make a difference in our world today. And that's why you and I are speaking, so that they get the message that we are not here for, this is no more tricks. We don't want tricks. So it's one voter, one ID, and one ballot. And we're going to purge the polls and the voting, all the registration that has been flawed. We have to. And we do need to get back to paper voting, the ballots, because the machines have been flawed. There's too many excuses. Everyone throws rocks and hides their hands on who did it. This doesn't work. We know that. So we're not going to go to third world tricks of trades where the voting has been, everyone knows that's why they're here in the United States, because we all believed that this was our right and that we were going to make a difference. Whether you're the United States, whether you have a union, we have to do it together now. We can't do it by ourselves. I'm not a politician candidate. I'm not one of those, politicians that have been there for a long time. I'm new. I am not a career politician. I want whoever donates, it's $1, I want their vote. But the people who say, oh, you have to have so much money to run, it's not about that. It's about, I just want your dollar to show me and show yourself that you're going to have the courage to go out and vote, because I'm going to make sure your vote counts. And that's what it should be, and it should have been. But now we have all these, things that are slowing us down a little bit, but we can get out of it. That's the great thing. When I walk around and I go to all these different meet and greets and I'm welcomed, because a lot of people are suffering right now. They're oppressed. They're suppressed with a lot of things that happened with COVID, and unnecessarily. And now we have to fight that. We're going to go fight we're going to fight depression, because we're going to go out there and vote, and they will see a difference, because the Secretary of State is an administrative position, and it's for every single person. And that's what we have to watch. And we have to make sure that it's balanced, and we all get together and make any kind of difference that we can. And I'll listen. I'm open doors. If you come to me, and I'm a female, and I know what a secretary is, I'd say, I'll talk to you, I'm the secretary. But if you go to my opponents, I'm pretty sure they'll say, wait, let me get you my secretary. Yeah. So we have to start thinking about how life really works in this United States and Nevada.
Well, I hear a lot of people screaming about my freedom, my freedom, my freedom. But what I don't hear from those people is my responsibility. Because that freedom comes with responsibility.
Yes,
And if you're not going to, and one of those responsibilities is voting.
that's the number one.
And so is that why you chose the Secretary of State to run for Secretary of State? Because
Absolutely.
basically you control the election process in Nevada.
Absolutely. We have, it's so flawed because it's layered. And we have to get to all the,
Can you explain that to me and the voters? What do you mean by it's layered?
it's layered. It's layered because it's handled through 17 counties, and we have to figure out, we have to really start purging. We have to see what is going on with anyone who's registered. Now, the Department of Motor Vehicles, it's time to start. We need to start. We don't have an oversight in the state of Nevada. If we have a problem, we really don't have anyone to go to, because they throw the rock. In Spanish, we say throwing the rocks to hide your hand everywhere. So we can't. We have to know that there's a place where we can go and make sure it gets handled. It gets at least listened to, acknowledged, so that we can verify if it's right or wrong, or so, because you can't certify something if you can't verify something.
Okay, so you said we should go back to paper and
Yes.
paper ballots for everywhere. What about voting by mail or absentee ballots? What's your position there?
The position is very. That's where we have to figure it out. That's where people say, well, I can't go for that because I want convenience. People want convenience. Do we really have convenience when we lose our vote? Where it's been set aside, where you don't even know, you can't even check to see if your vote really counted. There's no way. I tried to check with the Secretary of State. Nobody gave me information because I was asked to sign my name with a sponge pen 3 times. I said, and she said, well, you need to sign again because this machine does not recognize your signature. I said, this machine, I have never signed anything, a machine with a sponge this thick, my signature.
Okay, so I'm a veteran. I get all of my medical care from the VA.
Yes.
There is a website that I can go get to my medical records and all of that. There are 4 levels of security for me to get to my section of that website.
Yes.
In other words, I had to appear in person. I had to show my ID. They fingerprinted me. I got a whole bunch of other stuff that proved I am who I am before I got that access. Now, every time I go to that website, I have those 4 different levels. One of those levels is they send a text to the phone number that I have on record. I then have to respond to that so that I can get to my page. Why wouldn't that work with voting?
That's a great idea. In fact, that's that you're saying that this is what has been sophisticated. I mean,
Exactly.
It's not sophisticated. Silver Flume is not sophisticated.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, so we're still
As
we're
a
still
business owner, I'm
as a
familiar with
business
silver-
owner too.
Right.
I've been a talent agent 32
Right.
years. I know the actors in our government. I've been here a long time. I've worked for one of the governors. I represented the Hispanics. And I understand business very well. I've helped people set up their businesses many years ago when we could. I mean, when we could help, because I know the process, but
Right.
we need to streamline the whole process for people. And I mean everybody, because not only is it very difficult and it's challenging, and it becomes almost like, really? You don't want this business to bring in revenue? I mean, what is it you want? Why
Right.
would you send it back and reject it? Do we not have enough people? See, there's a lot of things, John, we don't know. We don't know how it's really mishandled, because the truth is the Secretary of State today has an office in North Las Vegas. You cannot go there. It's bars and nobody's there. The only time they were there is when we had to go, when we went to go sign up to be a candidate. But it's closed to the public.
Yeah.
And they're getting paid. And they keep using, you call anybody in the Secretary of State or the government, oh, it's COVID. They are really, I mean, they've stretched this to, they've put so many arms and legs on this, it doesn't make sense. You can't get anything done. And that's what people are frustrated. We're saying, hey, okay, the doors are open, they should be open for everyone. Stop closing them, unilaterally because you don't want to do this or that.
But isn't that a double-edged sword? Because if you have the doors open, it has to be staffed. If it has to be staffed, it has to be paid for. And if it has to be paid for, where does that money come from? Comes from the taxpayers.
Correct.
Don't
Property
raise my taxes. Okay. But you want access here, so you're going to have to pay more taxes to get the access to the people that you want access to.
Okay,
How do
John.
you balance that out? You talked about balancing
Oh,
earlier.
of course.
How do
Okay,
you
John.
balance that out?
I'll tell you, John, there's an executive budget in the state of Nevada. And that executive budget is it's very thorough, and it shows what everyone gets paid, and it doesn't show for a few months, it shows for a year.
Right.
Okay, and
Right.
it shows what their duties are. I know this for a fact. So the bottom line is, did they plan for COVID in these executive budgets? No. These people, it's a standard that
But almost
they have.
every state or locality has a rainy day fund.
Correct.
And that's what that is supposed to be for, is to cover those unknown contingencies that we don't anticipate.
Right.
You know, and I've anyway.
Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah, no, but the thing is, we're going to bring it back. The good news is we definitely we have to know that like my parents came from Mexico and they wanted to live the American dream, and they taught us all these values. They taught us law and order, and they showed us we have boundaries. We all have boundaries. The only thing that I can see that most people, we all agree on is the Department of Motor Vehicles. When we're driving, our driving privilege is red, yellow, and green. We all follow this.
Right.
That's probably the only thing that everyone would agree. Now, the thing with the Secretary of State is this is an administrative position to oversee, okay, to see all these different divisions, with the licensing,
Right.
with there's so many. But the thing is, you have to care about everybody. You can't single anyone out, which that's the problem. The problem is they put more. We can't go into the politics side of it because we have to treat everyone the same. I really believe that. I've always lived that. I was a flight attendant before I was a talent agent. I flew for an airline almost 9 years. I care about people. I've been helping people all my life. I had a mortgage license before. I know about I've helped people get homes. I care about their well-being. I care about families. I care about God first, and then family. And people we have to prioritize. I went to a priest one time and he says, you know what? You better get your priorities first, and God's first, and then everything will fall into place.
Right. So you said that the position, the Secretary of State, is an administrative position.
Yes.
So you are following guidelines, or you are following
The law.
as set down by the legislature.
Yes.
Both state and federal.
Yes.
So there has been a lot of talk about election fraud and all of that, and the actual proven cases of election fraud has been 0.0003%. So where is that all coming from? Where is, dead people are voting and illegal aliens are voting, and where's that coming from if there is no proof?
Okay, I can share this with you.
Please do.
Okay,
That's
I actually have, I have it sitting over there, but I have information that the Republican Party put together. 40 attorneys went out there and they researched all this, and we're talking about, all different levels of fraud. And that's double voting, people dead that are service. I'm not going to go and have my campaign at a cemetery. They have all that. The problem that you and I are stuck with the same result is that nobody had the courage to enforce what their findings were. They don't have the courage. What you see a lot of people do in these days is a lot of people will say things, but they can't back it up. Or they're afraid to even go further and say, okay, let's sit down, and this is the evidence. This is what we found. So that's why you're saying it's 000. But it's not.
But the state of Arizona did 3 independent,
Audits.
supposedly audits,
Yes.
and they couldn't find anything wrong. And these were, that was their purpose. They were there to find fraud in the election process, and they couldn't find any. So how do you, if there is fraud there, but everybody's afraid to say so,
afraid.
wouldn't you think that these Republican-backed people that were doing the audit couldn't find any? Were they being threatened that if you
Yes,
tell people
absolutely.
about this?
You know what I've learned? We forget that in the Bible it says 365 times we should not be afraid. But people are afraid. Why? I don't know. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to go in front of anybody with the truth. That's all. Because we were taught, in Mexico, that I come from a family of the Los Cristeros in Jalisco. If you see that movie, you'll see that they fought so hard for Christ. So the whole thing that we have to do in this case, we have to know that God is first and not be afraid of what these people are threatening us with, because God will take care of them. He takes care of us. He's going to take care of them. So if we don't sit down and really start conversing and making things right and learning how to communicate with each other, even if we have differences, and what use is it to get upset? It doesn't make any sense for any of us. We just say, okay, well, show me, and let's see what we can find, and not get upset, because the truth is going to come out sooner or later when someone has the courage. What we lack and I'm saying in the United States, I see that now, because a lot of people who are here that came from other countries were suppressed and oppressed, and they still are here, because a lot of people in the immigration that are in that process, they are detained by our criminal, justice system, who has them in a holding pattern where they have them in there for a long time. Meanwhile, Biden is bringing all his people, all the people he can. He's going to different countries. That's a fact. I listen to all the people that are coming through, and there isn't a screening process. It's just, come on down. We got to fill in those numbers so we can fill in those votes. That's the trick of his trade. The bottom line is this.
So, but in having said that, don't you have to be a citizen to vote?
Correct. But
So
you can fake it till you make it. They know how to make papers.
But that goes back to my point that none of this has been proven. And in a court of
right.
law, okay, you are innocent until proven guilty. So until someone steps forward and
Yes.
says, here's the evidence, right?
Correct.
I
You're
have
right.
I have to err on the side of innocent till proven guilty.
I thank God you do.
And it's I'm not trying to be confrontational.
No.
But I am.
I get it.
I am trying to be realistic, and we all hear these wild accusations and weird stories and conspiracy theories and all of that. And the one thing that we lack in this country more than anything else is critical thinking.
You have a good
each-
point, and
each
I'm not
person-
backing from that.
And part of that problem is because of our education system has just, the bottom has fallen out of it.
50th.
And rather than fix that system, now I'm taking my kids, I'm going to put them over here in this school. I'm going to put them in this school.
Yes.
And never mind fixing the problem.
No, we need to fix it.
That's right.
Okay, so what you're
And that's
saying,
my point.
we agree. Okay, we actually agree.
Of course we do.
Okay, the bottom line is, we just have to fix, whether it's a theory, whether it's real, whether it's, we have to fix that whole thing, that nobody is coming to the table because they're all running this way and they're running that way.
Right.
And so either we do it right this time. I don't think we're going to get another chance to really bring, put everything where it should be in its own slot, according to the law.
Right.
The law, there's a law that's been forsaken, and we can't go that route,
Well,
because
that's because of the money in politics.
yeah, but the money. Well, let's be honest about money.
Wait. What is the most difficult thing for you as a candidate? What do you have to work hardest at? Raising money.
The most important, raising votes.
No. I'm saying the hardest thing for you to do.
It's
Going out there and talking to people is easy.
Right, raising
you
votes.
you need money so
I
that
don't
you
want to
can-
bribe anyone.
Right.
I'm not going to bribe anyone. I'm not a career politician. I don't want to bribe them. If they just $1, I mean, go to the website, elect Socorro 22 at gmail.com. You can go in there, or at elect Socorro Keenan 22.com. You will see that I'm saying what is on there. So the main thing is, yes, we would accept money if we have like minds, and we believe in everybody that gets a fair chance. That's what.
So if there were, and I'm just pulling all this stuff out of the air. You have 3 candidates.
Yes.
I don't know how many there are running
There's
for
more.
Secretary of State.
There's
but
more.
I'm saying you have 3 candidates for Secretary of State.
Yes.
So each one of them is given $10,000. This is your campaign fund. That's all you get. And it's equal. You
That
get the
would be-
same amount as this person,
that
you
would
get the
be-
same amount of this person, and you get the same amount of this person.
I still have
That's
to get
what
the
we
votes.
don't have. It's like, hey,
That's
Socorro,
right.
listen, if you do me this favor when you get elected,
I don't want that.
I'm going to dump a whole bunch of money into your campaign fund. And that's what we have right now.
It's corrupt.
And the lobbyists and everything
corrupt.
that are coming in and giving money, that's what's screwing us up, because you and I do not have a chance. There are a lot of people out there that would be beautiful people to have running for office.
Correct. They're not.
They'll never make it,
But John,
because the money talks.
okay, yeah, and a B, you know what
Right.
happens, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use that, But the most important.
What she's trying to say is money talks and BS walks.
That's right. So if we can collect our thoughts about, the career politicians, that doesn't work. They'll sell us out. They're going to sell us out, money or no money. It's not about money. If you put money first, we have to earn money. That's one thing, the value that I've always known. I didn't get successful because somebody put money in my hand, because money, I thought money first. I thought because God blessed me. He blessed my family. He blessed us. Now, the corruption that interferes with the fact that you're blessed, that doesn't override the blessings that we've been given. It never will. In someone's mind who has their value system all messed up and not in the right order, that's where we're going to fall short. But if we start thinking that, guess what? At the end of the day, those guys with the money, they want the votes. They have to use money to bribe people. And the people think that the money is what's going to bribe them. But then the money comes and goes, and they're going to get stuck with something that turns sour faster than what they should have done.
You might have lost me just a little bit there. Can you explain what you mean by that?
I mean-
Are you saying as a politician, if I give the people money, they'll vote for me, or are you saying if the lobbyists give me money for my campaign, I can get the votes?
No, I think that's what's been used. I know
Okay.
it's been used.
Okay.
No, I know the tricks. I know.
Yeah.
I ran for city council in 1991.
Okay.
I was thrown in a race at the last minute in Las Vegas City Council Ward 3, and I was able to. I went to the casinos. I learned how it works.
Right.
So
Well,
I
and that's from
learned.
what I've heard from most of the candidates is that's their biggest job is trying to raise money for their campaign. And then once they get in office, then half their time is spending on raising money for their next campain. So maybe
we have a
50%
job.
maybe 50% of their time is spent doing their job.
Yeah, see, that's what this is where the people are shorted. I don't want to be a career politician. I want to get things right. I know what's wrong. I know if we band together, all I have to do is check out a lot of things that I know that a lot of us know, and to verify so that we can authenticate and so we can certify so that we can get on the right track and say, no, there's no doubt. This is how it is.
So as Secretary of State, what do you think is the number one issue that you would have control over in this state? What do you think would be your number one priority as Secretary of State?
Integrity of voting,
Okay.
number one. That's the only thing that really counts. That's for everyone.
And can you explain that a little bit?
The integrity would be that people could feel confident that the process was actually taken. It was executed for them. In other words, a process to verify the votes,
So
to authenticate, and
let's
to...
take, for example, and the reason I'm going down this road is because we have a show here at WWDB.TV called Cybersecurity Awareness TV.
Yes.
The host of the show is a cybersecurity expert, and he's always giving tips. So my thought is, going back to voting by computer, okay? Not everybody has a computer.
I agree.
But you know what? The library does.
But where would you're right about that, but the libraries, a lot of them are closed. Green Valley's closed. They're renewing it.
But see, that's an argument that doesn't hold water. It's because just because they are closed now doesn't mean
That's
that they
true.
couldn't be opened, or the polling place could be a set of computers. You come in, you go through all of the 4 or 5 steps to authenticate who you are. There's your voter ID covered, right?
I agree.
Now, after the election, I can go to my computer and I can check in and see, here's my vote, here's who I voted for,
That's
and
a
I
great
know that
idea.
my candidate, and it is so easily done, but politicians do not want that.
We want it. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you.
No, you want it.
No. I think I want it because, and I'll tell you why. Because they know so many tricks with the machine that was picked. There's so many things that nobody knows what the heck happened, not even them. And they don't want, and they'll never tell. So the thing is, let's go with something that we know it's been tested and it has all these safety nets.
That's my point.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
Right.
So if I'm open to anything that makes sense,
Yeah.
that's going to provide security for us to, hey, this is who I really voted for, and I'm glad it's like
And you can see your own
Gorilla
vote.
Glue.
You can verify it.
That's correct. And we have nothing right now.
And even with paper ballots, there's no way I can check to see if my vote was counted or thrown in the trash.
I agree with that to one extent, but that's what people know how to count. I know how to count. I mean, people can count. We have to get people that know how to count, okay? And then and they should do increments so that it makes it easier for them. That's going to be. There's ways to have some kind of a accountability for that, a check and balance. What a lot of people fail to understand today is that all the casinos, what do they have? Are they saying money is more important than your vote? No. Yes, they are saying that because they have eyes in the sky. Everywhere you go, they can verify everything. They have security cameras everywhere. Why is it that everything that when it came to voting was obscured? That's what no, I don't understand.
Okay, so we're using paper ballots.
Yes.
This is a what if question. We got paper ballots. You are a vote counter,
Yes.
right? You're counting the ballots. So you get the ballot in front of you and you got this sheet over here. And you're saying, okay, so this person voted for this person voted for this one, and then this and this and this. How do I know that what's on this paper gets over here?
Well, you
How
have.
can I verify that? That's the question I'm asking.
That's-
I'm saying,
well,
I'm
you-
trying to, because I don't have all the answers. I really don't, but I think about it a lot.
Of course, we all do, because we're looking for solutions. I'm a
Right.
strategist. So I look for solutions, and I know there are people smarter than me, and I welcome that. I welcome the fact that God gave people, higher intelligence, and the fact that I've been a talent agent. I know I can see when someone's brighter than me, and I can see that they know what they're doing and that they know how to improve, and they have better ideas, and we have to welcome that. It's not what I'm saying right now.
Right.
We have to be open.
There is a solution out there if we're willing to go look for it.
Correct.
The problem is that there's too many people that do not want a solution because they want to control
That's
who
right.
votes and how they vote.
That's exactly right.
And that's what we need to
That's
educate
corrupt.
the public about. Of course it's
That's
corrupt.
corruption.
And we see it all over the country.
Oh, no.
And that's where we need to get, and I'm not sure if these figures are exactly correct, but I know in the last presidential election, only 47 or 48% of registered voters voted.
Correct.
That's less than half of
what
people
the
who
voters.
were registered to vote.
Yes.
Now, of the people who were eligible to vote, there was like 60% of the people who were eligible to vote registered to vote. So then you've got 40% of that. So you've got 60% of 100%.
That's
then you've got
correct.
40% of 60%. So you have 4 people making decisions for the other 12.
That's right. It's obscure.
And that's what we have to get people out to vote.
That's right.
Because I don't want three people making decisions. In other words, there's three of us here in the studio.
Yes.
One person comes in and they have made the decisions for us for the rest of today.
Well, that happened. Okay.
Of course it happens. And that's,
you and I know. I mean, I've been here so long. I can tell you what happened to the Hispanics. A lot of them that work in the culinary, I mean, they were taken on buses and they were given a list. And they said, you are to vote for these people. You should be thankful that so-and-so, and I'm not going to use his name, he's
Right.
gone. You have a job and you should vote for this person. But we as Hispanics believe in God, we believe in family, we believe in honesty. And we try to do the right thing, but I have to sacrifice my job, go on a bus. I don't even have my papers, and then they get their papers. I know so much that's gone on and that's called rigging. Okay, how they rig, all these votes to go one way. So we can fix that.
so you as the Secretary of State, how are you going to know?
Oh, we'll know.
How are you going to control that? How are you going to
Because
control? How are you going to control somebody who employs 25 people, puts them on a bus, takes them down to the poll, and tells them who to vote for? How are you going to know that?
I can't control it, but we can find it out, and we have to have a system that accounts for that kind of. I mean, there's an NRS for any kind of rigging and all that. And nobody ever uses it.
But you have to be aware of it.
Yeah, I believe they would tell us.
You have to find it. You have to prove it.
Correct.
And that's the difficulty, and that's where it's easy to say this is all wrong. How do we figure it out? How do we change that? How do we change the scenario to make it? I'm confident when I go to the polls that my vote's going to count, and the person behind me, their vote's going to count, regardless of who they're voting for.
Correct.
And
That's true.
The hard part.
Yeah.
If you don't like my ideas, don't vote for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not going. If you don't like my ideas, I'm not going to let you vote.
I get it.
And
I get it.
That's the hard part. That's what we need to figure out. How do we stop that?
How do we stop that? Okay, first of all, what I know about life.
And I know you don't have all the
I
answers.
don't have any answers. But what I know, I'm going to go as a mother.
I just want you to be thinking about this.
I know you're right.
Okay.
As a mother, I'm a mother of three, I'm a grandmother. When something's wrong in Hong Kong, like we say in Spanish, I'm going to figure it out because I care.
Right.
So I'm going to. This is where I think I'm a little different or very different. I'm not afraid to find out and go to somebody and say, okay, let's figure out. We have to talk to people. You know why these courts are so cluttered and corrupt? Because they delay the truth for a long time so that they can keep making money and delaying all these things to be solved in a New York second that they should be by communicating with each other. All we have to do is go and sit and talk to people and listen to them and welcome everything and calm them down and say, look, you put them together and say, okay, let's talk and we're going to get a solution with the truth. Because people are afraid of the truth. They really are. They don't want to deal with it, but we all have to deal with it sooner or later.
They're only afraid of the truth if it disagrees with their
agenda.
Beliefs, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
That's the key.
That's the problem.
That's
it's
the problem.
like, well, I don't believe that, so that's wrong.
That's wrong.
And that's what we have to get away from.
Yes.
And that goes back to education and critical thinking.
That's correct.
And that's Secretary
that's
of State,
a very
there ain't
prudent
much
thought.
that you can do about education, but
No.
anyway.
You know that.
So, boy, we have fun.
We had fun, yeah. Yes, everybody, let's make a difference.
We're getting close to running out of time here, so I would like you to look in the camera. Anything that you want to make sure that the voters know about you and why they should vote for you, this is your chance. So, ta-da.
There we go. My name is Socorro Keenan. My name Socorro means help. And that's what I've done all my life is help people. Not myself. I help them to help themselves because I know we are an international country. We are an international Nevada. And we have to try to make everything work so it's balanced and we can continue to flourish. I want to build up the businesses that were cut out from COVID. And there are a lot of them that even left us. So we really have to bring back all people's talents and make the best we can. So my question to all of you would be, don't be afraid to vote. I care more than anything because that's the only right we have left. that will make a world of difference for everyone. And if you vote, I promise you I will count your vote. And my name is Socorro Keenan, and please go out there and look at my website, electsocorro22.com. Donate $1. I know I'll have your vote. And that's what counts more than anything, because I just need money to get out throughout Nevada and make sure I get to talk to as many people as I can until we go out and vote June 14th, the primary. And that's the day that we all have to we cannot forget it. And remember, we are in Lent season, and we have to think of how God made everything so wonderful, and we need to show him that we really love him and that we care about each other. So please come back to electsocorro22.com, and I will make a difference for all of you. And that's a promise. Thank you so much for your time and your consideration.
Now, I would like to ask you to address our Spanish-speaking audience as well,
Oh, thank you.
if you would, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Me llamo Socorro Keenan y ustedes saben que estoy allí fuera con todos los anuncios, pero los anuncios no significan mucho si no van a votar. Necesito que vayan a mi correo, mi internet, donde dice electsocorro22.com. electsocorro22.com. Y allí dice que por favor donen $1, es todo. Y sé que tengo su voto, porque yo voy a pelear fuerte por todos. Y yo sé que es muy difícil para muchos empezar sus negocios y tenemos que facilitar todo lo que es un poco difícil, pero vamos a hacerlos juntos. Y si no lo hacemos juntos esta vez, no quiero que se quejen, porque esta es la oportunidad, soy la única hispana en esta candidatura y necesito su voto, y que Dios me los bendiga y me los cuide. Y este es el mundo de Dios, y vamos a hacer lo que podemos para arreglar estos problemas que están aquí en Nevada. Muchas gracias. Socorro Keenan, para secretaria del Estado de Nevada.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank all of you for watching and supporting Meet the Candidates here at WWDB TV. I say this every week, every day. Get out there and vote. With freedom comes responsibility. It's your responsibility. So if you, we do this to educate the voters. We do not charge for this. This is a free service by WWDB TV. If you know someone who is running for office, regardless of their political affiliation or what office they're running for, please have them contact us here, and we're happy to get them in and let them tell their story and tell the voters why they should vote for them. And like I always say, if you're going to do it with styles. Thank you.
Thank you.